Hello and welcome to Reporters on France 24. I'm William Hildebrandt. In this edition, we focus on the beautiful game. Football is the world's most beloved and most watched sport, and it's finding a blooming playground in China. Big stadiums, bigger names, and the biggest salaries. But the footballers aren't the only ones having fun. More and more Chinese billionaires are investing, and new teams are popping up across the world's second largest economy. It's not just a matter of business, though, but one of pride. China has made football development a national priority. It aims not just to host the World Cup, but one day soon to hoist the trophy. This report by Antoine Védier.
It's a gala evening. The opening game of China's National Football Championship. 30,000 fans gathered in the stadium. A blue wave of support came to cheer on the Shanghai Shenhua, one of China's most popular clubs.
Shenhua is the champion, the best ambassador of football in China.
There's a great atmosphere. We've nothing to envy about European stadiums.
Especially since international stars have signed for the club. The most famous, Argentine striker Carlos Tevez. To convince him to join, the Shanghai club offered him a salary of £32 million a year. He is now the highest paid player in the world. In Shanghai and Tianjin, 1,500 kilometers away, a handful of billionaires are investing their fortunes in football. New clubs appear every year. Others change their names when they are bought by real estate tycoons or captains of industry. Tianjin's finances sustained the arrival of Belgian Axel, Witsel and Brazilian Peito. Their salaries £15 and £8 million per year.
First of all, I want to thank the president and the coach for bringing me here. So I'm really happy to be here.
This is the man who signs the cheque, Xu Yuhui. He is the head of Quanjian, a pharmaceutical group that is worth more than £1 billion. His pockets are very deep.
I've been a football fan for many years. As a supporter, I always wondered what I could do to help Chinese football. Before, I did not have the means, but now, for the past 10 years, I can afford it. I do not have a budget. If I want a player, I will have them at any cost.
China lays out the red carpet to those foreign players who agree to move away from the spotlight of the major European championships. They are attracted by the lure of money and are waiting for other footballing stars to join them in their adventure.
I can see that China has this ambition to professionalize its football day by day, and I think the country can achieve it. It would be really wonderful.
In China, people invest in football to please the president. Xi Jinping is a big fan. Whenever possible, he strikes a pose. A ball by his foot or standing with an international star, like here with Kun Aguero, a striker from Manchester City.
I'm a football fan. Chinese football has made a lot of effort for a long time. But so far, we have only participated once in the World Cup.
For the second largest economic power in the world, that's humiliating. So Xi Jinping has made football development a national priority, a 10-year plan as only China can do. The all-powerful Chinese president even made a vow to organize the World Cup in 2030 and to win it even sooner. At the Shanghai Sports University, Professor Liu Dongfeng is closely following the craze. He sees football as the new tool of Chinese soft power.
Football is also highly intertwined with politics. It has a lot to do with national pride. This is also part of this president's narrative of China dream. So to become a super soccer country is also part of this China dream. In other words, to make China great again.
Yet in China, football is not a recent passion. The most popular sport in the world was born here, in Linzi, a small town in the east of the country. more than 2,000 years ago. To prove it, the authorities opened a museum last year.
Here you can see a reproduction of a football game, which was then called suju. Originally, suju was a traditional activity practiced by the people. Then gradually it became the favourite leisure activity of the emperor.
Thus, the suju, which appeared around 400 BC, became the ancestor of football. In the museum, the history continues. The first crampons. Here, the process of making the ball with flaps of leather. And behind this showcase, the first dribbles, which lend themselves well to poetic names.
These are the gestures of suju. There is the figure called the Return of the Swallow, and there the fleur-de-lis swept by the winds.
Then, under these portraits of former senior executives of the International Football Federation, a more modern piece, the jewel of the museum. A slab signed by the hand of Sepp Blatter, the former president of FIFA, which officially recognised Linz as the cradle of football. Enough to flatter the nationalist fibre of all Chinese visitors.
Every Chinese person knows that football was invented in Linz. It's well known. Propaganda recalls it regularly. How could we not know?
Football could have been invented in Linz, but there is not a square of grass on the horizon. But things are changing. A soccer field will soon emerge from the ground and the city will have an academy dedicated to the game. Wei Dong is leading the project. He expects 600 players this summer, dormitories, training grounds, classrooms. This structure is one of the 20,000 soccer schools that must see the light of day in China within 3 years, by order of the president.
We are following the wishes of President Xi Jinping. Chinese people love football, so we do everything to develop this sport. We are implementing the state's football policy.
In Linz, but also in Shanghai, across the country, green rectangles are growing at breakneck speed. Numbers relay the goal. In the end, the Middle Kingdom aims at 1 football field per 10,000 inhabitants. In China, the capital of football is the southern city of Guangzhou. The third largest Chinese metropolis is home to an exceptional establishment. Set against a fairy tale background, a castle with a gigantic park, 167 acres of land, more than 20,000 square meters of infrastructure, the largest football school in the world.
Zongle, get up. Hurry up.
6:30, the day begins. The boarders are already prepared. Here, they live and they sleep football. Zhongle is 11 years old. He is one of the hopes of this academy. The program mixes school education and football.
First we go to the canteen for breakfast, then we go to the first morning English course, then we have 2 other lessons, then we go to training.
The academy opened 5 years ago. A champion factory that welcomes 2,600 residents aged between 7 and 17 years. In the canteen, Zhongle already watches his diet like a real professional.
I have to eat beef and not fatty food. I shouldn't drink soft drinks, but have milk instead.
Before training, children have to go to school, which is mixed boys and girls. The program begins with 1 hour of English.
When fishing.
Essential for those who aspire to an international career. Zhongle has learned the lesson.
This is very important because when I grow up and go abroad to play games, I can communicate in English with people there.
After school, every day for 2 hours, the children put on their football boots.
I'll do my best to become a professional player and join the national team. I wish I and all the others could play in the World Cup together. Then later, if I can, I'll play in Germany, in Dortmund.
For each child, the schooling amounts to £7,000 per year, a fortune in China. But at that price, Zhang Le and his friends have a right to excellence. 24 coaches from Real Madrid will make them future football stars. Jose Atiedao was recruited 3 years ago. His mission, he knows, is tremendous: to train players able to win the World Cup.
The plan of the Federation and the President is a long-term plan. It's important to understand that football and the development of football takes time. Today it's very difficult to imagine that a country like China, which does not have a football culture, could win a World Cup. We'll see. The train is moving.
To achieve its targets, China has enormous means. This school costs more than £135 million. That's the price China is prepared to pay for a Chinese star to emerge from these walls.
This statue is here to inspire our students to become great players who can fight on the field and achieve good results.
The school director, Liu Jiangnang, takes very seriously a remark by President Xi Jinping. If a country is strong in sport, he once said, it is strong everywhere.
Our level in football does not correspond to the great sports nation that we are, nor to the economic power that we are. So our great people want to see a level of football at the height of the greatness of our country.
This is not the only place in Guangzhou intent on improving China's football image. The local club has been national champion for 6 consecutive years. But now the supporters have new demands.
I think we should decrease the number of foreign players little by little, because after all, we are in a Chinese championship. We need more Chinese players, so that in the future our national team is better.
The club's owner, it seems, has got the message. A few weeks ago, he made an historic promise.
We've set a goal. By 2020, all the players on our team will be Chinese.
The revolution in Chinese soccer is just beginning. The country dreams of becoming a soccer superpower. In Guangzhou, Zhang Le is already getting ready, because President Xi Jinping proclaimed, China's opening to football depends on its children.
And that report made by Antoine Védier. He joins us on the set here at France 24. Hello, Antoine. When we're looking at this football craze in China, one has to ask, are they simply manufacturing a popular sport, or is there really passion there?
No, you know, in China, the Chinese people are rather basketball fans or ping pong or badminton fan rather than football. There's not in China a strong football fan base. There's not a culture of football, and it's quite hard to say that China is a kind of football country. You know, it's quite hard to find people playing football in the street or wearing a football jersey like in France or in Argentina or in Brazil or in England. So no, I think it's not a big craze of football in the long term.
We mentioned in that report that it's a national priority. When we talk about China, we often use these superlatives: the biggest, the bestest, the fast. Is there a chance that there's going to be overinvestment in this area in terms of football, all these schools that are popping up?
It's true that China is spending a huge amount of money, and I think that the biggest challenge for China is to develop football sustainably at the grassroots levels, because without the grassroots levels, without the strong fan base, it will be very difficult for China to develop football in the long run, because it's not only a question of money, it's also a question of football fan, and without a football fan, without these grassroots levels, I think that it's the key. If China wants to develop football in the long run, they have to build a culture of football in the country.
In the U.S., they've tried to woo big-name football stars, but to varying degrees of success. Many of the people they brought over were on the tail end of their careers. Is that a similar situation in China?
Not really, because, in the US and even in India, they try to develop their national championship. But we used to say that it's a kind of a retirement home for former football players. In China, it's not the same thing, because, Oscar, who left Chelsea for Shanghai, is only 26, and it seems like that thanks to the super rich investors in China, China now has the power to attract any football player in the world.
They have the power to attract, but will they reach their goal of becoming a soccer superpower and winning the World Cup one day soon?
It will be very, very hard. The big dream of the President Xi Jinping is to win the World Cup, but China only participated once in the World Cup. It was in 2002, and today they have virtually no chance to participate in the next World Cup in Russia. So the gap to be filled is huge. China today is ranked beyond the 80th place of the ranking of the FIFA, behind some countries like Uganda, like Syria. So, the gap is quite huge.
Well, you know what they say, Antoine, practice makes perfect. Thank you for speaking to us here on France 24. Antoine Vidier, and once again, you can catch his report on our website, france24.com. More news coming up. Please stay tuned.